Hi everyone, and welcome to another Music Monday from the Organ Loft of First Parish in Lincoln. Today I wanted to chat with you about some aspects of the organ here at First Parish which are common to most instruments, but one aspect which is rarely found in other instruments. Every musical instrument is designed to produce pitch and timbre or colour, and the organ produces more pitches and more colours than any other instrument. The way that the pitch is produced is by the length of pipe. We often hear terms like 8-foot pitch, 4-foot, 2-foot, 16-foot. But what does that mean? Well, if you take a pipe approximately 8 feet long, it produces that note, which is the low C. We go up 1 octave, 2 octaves, that brings us to middle C, which that would play the same pitch as on a piano. If we take that 8-foot pipe and cut it in half, we get an octave higher. Cut that one in half, we get a 2-foot pitch, that much higher. So on many organs there are 16-foot, of course, but some even 32-foot stops, and on the Royal Albert Hall organ in London, there's 64 feet. The way that these sounds are produced is, on this organ, in 2 ways. One is the same principle as a flute or recorder, and the other way has a brass or metal tongue which vibrates as the air passes, and that's called a reed stop. The ones on the same principle as a flute are called flue stops, and that's say they are either metal or wood, flue stops and reed stops. That's basically it. So here's a metal flue stop. Here's a wooden flue stop. And here's the reed stop. Each of these sounds has a different timbre, and the reason for that is what we call the harmonic series. I'm sure anybody who's heard a bell, which we all have, or heard a blacksmith's hammer on an anvil, hears that ringing sound. These are the overtones or harmonics. And with these notes on an instrument like this, there's a very definite order of overtones or harmonics. It's called the harmonic series. And although you can't hear it on this low C, it does go like this. All of those notes are playing at the same time, I promise you. So that harmonic series is very important because the timbre or colour of sound is very much connected with whichever of those overtones or harmonics are accentuated or to the fore. So when I play this low note, which we call a fundamental, this is called the fundamental, and we have the overtones. Those intervals that you can hear there are called pure intervals because they come from and are absolutely part of the fundamental. If I were to tune this keyboard instrument using those pure intervals, the octave, then the 5th, another octave, a 3rd, I'm going to tune those right the way up, all the way up, a number of octaves. By the time I got to the top, if I played the top C with this one, they would not be in tune. You're just going to have to take my word for that, but it's a physical fact. And with keyboard instruments, which are fixed pitch, we have to tune them once, and they have to stay there, and it has to sound nice. So the way that's achieved is by what we call temperaments. Now, when I tune my octaves with pure octaves right the way up, there's actually an extra bit. The top note would actually sound slightly sharp. So we take that extra bit, and what the temperament will do, it will either take that and load it onto a key that we never use, or it will take it and it will spread it slightly amongst keys that we don't use, or it will spread it over the whole keyboard. When that little extra bit is spread evenly over the whole keyboard, it's called equal temperament. And that's the difference between most organs in churches and this one. That this organ is actually tuned to a temperament. I hope you can hear this, but this is a nice chord of G major. And now I'm going to play a chord of G flat major. G major. Nice and sweet. It's okay, but it's not as nice as the other one. And that's what I mean by a temperament. It's taken that little extra chunk and it's loaded some of it onto the G flat major chord, leaving the G major chord to sound very nice. So in many keys on this instrument, it's got a lovely ringing pure sound, and in some other keys, not so nice. Which brings me on to my music. I hope that wasn't too occluded. I probably didn't explain it very well. But when Johann Sebastian Bach decided to write 48 preludes and fugues in 2 sets, he wanted to write pieces in all 12 keys, major and minor, that makes 24, to demonstrate how one could play in all of those keys. Now, pianos these days are tuned to equal temperament, and the general thinking is that Bach was a proponent of equal temperament, i.e. spreading the little extra bit over the entire keyboard evenly. That isn't the case, in fact. He wrote these to demonstrate the different colors that were able to be produced, not by equal temperament, which he knew about, but by using the ones that he was familiar with and that he used himself. So these 48 preludes and fugues, the well-tempered Clavia is called, can be played on pretty much any keyboard instrument. The word Clavia is a generic term, as I've mentioned in the previous program. And some, however, are more appropriate than others for certain instruments. So I feel that some are appropriate for the organ. For example, ones which have long-held notes. There's one here, let's play a little bit of this one, in E-flat major, which has immediately a long-held note, and the held notes are a feature of the piece. You see how that would immediately die away if one was playing it on the piano. So I feel that this is an appropriate piece to play on the organ. So I'm going to play one of the 48 preludes and fugues in G major, which is a very nice sounding key in the temperament of this organ, which is actually designed by a man called Vellotti in the 18th century. And I hope you enjoy it. So I hope I didn't get too technical. I hope I explained it in some sort of sensible way for you. Thank you. See you next time.